net beat, right? Beat on top line, beat on the bottom for the quarter. But I thought it was, it was also a wrap to 2023. But there were a few highlights that I was impressed with. First of all, the generative AI and WatsonX, right? We've seen a doubled quarter on quarter. A third of that business is through software, and 2/3, as you might expect, is consulting, as these enterprises are trying to figure out what is going on, like what should they be doing. And from a revenue comparison, they said, Q3 was low hundreds of millions for WatsonX, and you double that, I guess that's low 200s of millions. I mean, I honestly don't know how to do that. Maybe low hundreds of millions. It was 200, which should mean 400 million, but we're going to see. They talked a lot about the demand of the areas that they're targeting for, right? Code modernization, customer service, digital labor. Cited two banks, Citi and NatWest, plus Lockheed Martin, which I thought was really interesting. Overall, right, that 3.3% that isn't like swinging around the room, super duper growth. So, I like to focus on the businesses that are really, bringing it, like double digits. So generative AI and WatsonX. You had some pretty good highlights. I mean, we're on the tail end of IBM Z, and I've got to give Ross Morey and crew a shout out here. 8% growth on I think it's the 7th quarter, right, of Z16, and usually that's kind of like a desert, and we're gonna be waiting for a Z16. Consulting, I mean, AWS and Azure, right, up 50% year on year. 40% of consulting business gets back to strategic partnerships. And IBM doesn't talk a lot about the competition, but on the call they went after it and made their case about how they're differentiated. They're the largest consulting group that's a tech company, and I think that's fair, right? I mean, Accenture, is not viewed as an example as a tech company. They're viewed as a consulting firm. So, and software, the highlights for me, Red Hat, 17% bookings increase across RHEL, OpenShift, and Ansible. They gave a 2024 forecast, right? Revenue is in line. Cloak words like $3 billion productivity target. That's likely going to be AI related and people optimization. But man, that cash, $12 billion target. And final comment, highest stock price, I believe, in 10 years, strongest cash generation since 2019. The Arvind Krishna team and the new team is working.
Yeah, it was a really good report. Probably one of the best the company's had in many years. And this is a continuation of the hybrid cloud AI focus. And when you're focused as much as Arvind Krishna is and his team, you get the results. You and I both had a chance to talk to CFO Jim Kavanaugh. Jim also reiterated just the strong operational management, the company's ability to generate cash flow. There were some really great indications about the meaningful impact that AI is having on the business, specifically WatsonX. The WatsonX business was quoted in the low hundreds of millions. So let's just put the number 2 around that. And then say they doubled it between Q3 and Q4. So it went from 2 to 400 roughly. Again, that's me adding an assertion, but low 100, 1, 2. If it was 3, it's 6. But the point is that ramp means IBM's on its way to generating $1 billion in revenue from its generative AI technology, WatsonX, which was one of the early GA'd enterprise generative tools. So that was really one of the things that stood out to me. You caught on to what's going on with Z. That was very, very good. The hybrid cloud business. I mean, look, it's kind of interesting, but their 22 to 24 guide was all about kind of this low, mid single digits, and that's what they're delivering. It's interesting that that's kind of caught fire, but there's something about stability, consistency, growth, and focus that I think makes investors happy, which is part of the reason it's driving to new highs. But also that margin expansion, that cash flow creation, those are things that people love to see. It sits really well. It shows that things like the Kyndryl spinoff really did make a lot of sense. I'd like to see more acceleration in the Red Hat growth. I think that's a really important part of the business. It's growing a little slower than I would think in the high single digits. I think it should be double digits, if not higher. Well, not higher than double, but higher double digits. And then, of course, I'd like to see, and I've been saying this for several quarters in a row, I'd love to see cybersecurity pick up a bit. I think that's a great opportunity for the company across its consulting as well as its technology. And then I do think it's made big bets on observability. That's another area, the Instana, Turbonomic investment. With all this AI, we're going to need to monitor all these systems. You see Cisco making the bet on Splunk. You see companies coming up in this space. Observability is going to be a big one in the future. Yeah. It's not the cool AI, but it's the important AI. And so that is definitely going to be in focus as well. But, really, like I said, you got to kind of look for things not to like in this report. And there wasn't much to not like. Congrats, Arvin, Jim, team. Thanks for the time this past week. And good job to IBM.